Normally when I film my artwork, when it's finished, I use natural light, but it's raining really hard today and it's also almost 7 o'clock, so I've kind of run out of daylight. So please forgive the artificial light, but I just couldn't wait to film this because this is 100% my favorite thing that I've ever done in leather. I feel like this is a turning point for me. Normally, I do leather sculptures that hang on the wall, and this one is fully three-dimensional. I am not only did I have a blast doing this was actually fun to make, and as it was being put together, I haven't felt like this excited in a really long time as far as my art. So yeah, this is like my I I hate to say that I love my own stuff, but I really like this. It was fun and it's so different, and I love the way the leather is dripping down the sides of the cage, and I just dig it. Uh, I also think that inside here, doesn't that look like the inside of a cave? I think that's cool. See, I've also been always completely fascinated with cave paintings. And obviously, I don't have a painting in there, but it's painted. But that just reminded me of old caves, stalagmites, stalactites in a cave. I also love how this shape keeps changing. From the side, she kind of looks like the prow of a ship. I have also been working with the idea, and I did this in the last one too, of leather as human skin. You know, I deliberately painted it to look more like human skin. But I also did do some, the light's really not great tonight, but I did do some interference paints on there, so there's a little bit of color, because this is a very happy piece, and I wanted just a little joy in it as well. But I'm just couldn't be happy with this. I think this is the most interesting thing I've done so far. I think this is much more interesting than the pieces that hang on the wall. And see, here's my pattern. I I love what I just did until I make the next one, and then that one becomes my favorite. So this is how I work. Each one, each new one is now my favorite, but really this is my new favorite. I really had so much fun doing this. So, I gotta say one thing, that this piece of art would not exist without my boyfriend, because he is the one who bought me this cage. It was a metal decorative bird cage, and he basically just bought it for me, and he's like, "Here, I want you to have this. You will find a use for it. Put it in your house, make some art out of it, whatever you want to do with it. But you need to have this." And I had it for quite a while, and I didn't do anything with it. It was just sitting on a table. And then when I did my last sculpture, which was much more three-dimensional, I started looking at this cage and I was like, that would make a good support, and it's got the open back, and wouldn't that be interesting? So had I seen this cage in a store, I never would have picked it up for myself. And if he hadn't bought that for me, this piece would not exist. Like, for real. So I'm extremely grateful that he had the foresight to say, she can make something out of this. And then just having it in my environment, I eventually did. But basically, like, I did it in the same way I do the flat sculptures, or not flat, the relief sculptures. This was all a big piece of clay. So like this whole body was a piece of clay that I actually put on this cage. And then the leather went on top of that and dried. And then once the leather was dry, I pulled that whole piece of leather off. This is one piece of leather. This whole thing is just one piece of leather. I pulled that off and then put it back on the cage and painted everything. But this, to me, I haven't had this much fun making anything for a while either. And part of it is because physically I feel healthier. I'm not as sick as I was this whole year. But part of it is like just it's so like, I want to say it's like freeing, but it's so much fun to do something different. And I enjoyed making this, and now I like looking at it, and it's just cool. This was a blast, and she is now my absolute favorite, hands down, best thing I've ever made.